Roblox connected me to the afterlife. My name is David, and what I'm about to tell you changed my life forever. Everything began 3 years ago when my younger brother Alex was barely 15 years old. He was an introverted kid, always hiding in his room after school, avoiding family conversations and the problems we had at home. Our parents fought constantly, and divorce seemed inevitable. Things weren't better for Alex at school either. Other students ignored him or made fun of him for being different, for preferring video games over sports, for reading science fiction books instead of socializing. His only escape was Roblox, that virtual world where he could be whoever he wanted, where nobody really knew him, and where he could build fantastic worlds far from the reality that crushed him day after day. He spent endless hours in front of the screen, creating elaborate scenarios, exploring worlds created by other players, and losing track of time in that alternative reality that offered him the peace he couldn't find anywhere else. One October night, while I was studying in my room, I heard Alex talking to someone through his microphone. At first, I thought he had made a new online friend, something that seemed positive considering his social isolation. His voice sounded different, more animated, almost excited in a way I hadn't heard in months. During the following days, this routine became constant. Every night, around 10 o'clock, Alex would connect and begin conversing with this mysterious person. From my bedroom, I could hear fragments of their conversations, words whispered with a tenderness that surprised me coming from my usually reserved brother. He talked about his problems, his fears, his dreams, things he had never shared with anyone in the family. The person on the other side seemed to understand him in a way that we had never managed to. Alex began to change gradually. At first it was subtle, an occasional smile, a slightly improved mood during family dinners. But soon it became more evident that something strange was happening. He started talking about a girl named Luna, describing her avatar with an obsessive detail that disturbed me. Always dressed completely in white, he told me, with a pixelated veil that mysteriously covered her face. Her eyes, according to Alex, shone with a special light that pierced through the screen. He said Luna was different from all other players, that there was something special about her, something that made him feel complete for the first time in his life. Weeks passed and Alex's obsession with Luna intensified alarmingly. He stopped attending classes regularly, inventing elaborate excuses about non-existent illnesses. His grades, which had never been exceptional, began to decline drastically. He lost weight visibly because he spent dinner hours connected, claiming he wasn't hungry. The dark circles under his eyes deepened and his skin acquired a sickly pallor. When our parents tried to talk to him, Alex became irritated and impatient, as if any real-world interaction was an annoying interruption of something much more important. His nightly conversations with Luna extended until late hours of the morning. I heard him whispering until 3 or 4 in the morning, his voice loaded with an emotion that bordered on desperation. He talked about meeting her, about being together forever, about a special place where they could be alone without interruptions from the outside world. The words I managed to distinguish chilled my blood. Luna apparently confessed intimate secrets to him, told him she was waiting for him on the other side, that soon they could truly reunite. Alex clung to these promises like a shipwrecked person clings to a lifeline, believing every word with a blind faith that terrified me. One dawn, around 2:30, I heard my parents get up alarmed. They had found Alex in his room, talking animatedly to the screen but completely alone. His microphone was disconnected, and on the screen there was no game running, just the default Windows desktop background. When they asked him who he was talking to, Alex insisted he was conversing with Luna, that she was right there, but they couldn't see her because they didn't know her like he did. His eyes had a strange shine, almost feverish, and he spoke with an absolute conviction that was more disturbing than any obvious lie. My parents, finally aware of the severity of the situation, decided to investigate. Dad, who worked in computer systems, meticulously reviewed Alex's browsing history, his downloaded files, his saved conversations on Roblox. What he discovered left us frozen. The account that supposedly Alex had been interacting with for months had been deleted more than 3 years ago. There was no record of any recent conversations with any user named Luna. The only messages in his chat history dated from years earlier and were trivial conversations with random players. Intrigued and increasingly worried, Dad decided to deepen his investigation. He used his contacts in the technology industry to access deeper databases and archived records. What he found plunged us into a nightmare that I still struggled to process. The account had belonged to a 16-year-old teenager named Luna Martinez, who had died in a car accident exactly 3.5 years ago. Forum records showed that Luna had been an active player until the date of her death, known for her distinctive avatar, dressed completely in white with a veil that had facial features. But the most chilling thing was discovering, through archived newspaper articles about the accident, that Luna had been found wearing exactly the same clothing that Alex described in her avatar, a long white dress and a veil that covered her face, garments she was wearing when attending a religious ceremony moments before the fatal accident. The coincidence was too specific to be casual, too precise to be a product of Alex's imagination. Armed with this disturbing information, my parents confronted Alex with the facts. They showed him the records, the articles about Luna's death, the irrefutable evidence that the account had been inactive for years. But Alex flatly refused to accept reality. He insisted that Luna was alive, that she communicated with him every night, that the records must be wrong or manipulated. His denial was so absolute, so desperate, that my parents seriously considered seeking professional psychological help. Alex became increasingly aggressive when they tried to limit his computer time, arguing that Luna needed him, that he couldn't abandon her when he had finally found someone who truly loved him. His outbursts of anger were interspersed with periods of deep sadness where he cried silently, whispering Luna's name like a desperate prayer. The situation reached its climax one November night. I had returned late from university and found the house strangely silent. The light in Alex's room was on, so I assumed he was playing as usual. But something in the atmosphere felt different, charged with a tension I couldn't identify. Around midnight, I heard Alex speaking with an intensity one had never perceived before. His voice trembled with emotion as he repeated over and over that yes, he was ready, that he had been waiting for this moment for so long. Then there was absolute silence, followed by the distinctive sound of a computer shutting down abruptly. I got up to check that everything was okay, but when I knocked on his bedroom door, I got no response. The house was plunged into a supernatural silence that made my skin crawl. The next morning, it was my parents who made the discovery that would change us forever. They found Alex collapsed in front of his desk, unconscious but breathing weakly. His computer screen was completely black and the system didn't respond to any restart attempts. Paramedics arrived quickly and transported him to the hospital, where doctors determined he was in some kind of inexplicable catatonic state. His vital signs were stable, but he didn't respond to external stimuli of any kind. Blood tests showed no evidence of drugs or toxins, and magnetic resonance imaging revealed normal brain activity. Medically speaking, there was no reason whatsoever for his condition. But on Alex's desk, scribbled on a paper in his shaky handwriting, we found a final message that will chill our blood forever. Luna is waiting for me on the other side. We're finally going to be together. Don't look for me in this world. Alex remained in that state for 2 weeks before awakening with no memory of the events that occurred. But occasionally, on the quietest nights, I still hear him whisper Luna's name while he sleeps.